Hi everyone, and welcome to 5-Minute Bedtime Stories with Missy Lane. Tonight we're going to read a Curious George book. It's called Sweet Dreams, Curious George. I'm going to dedicate it to my friends Brooke and Bradley, who just popped in recently to say hello to me at the Bethel Park Public Library. So hello to you guys. This one's for you. I know you enjoy Curious George. In this one, so we know he's a curious monkey, right? He's always thinking about something, and sometimes he gets in trouble. In tonight's story, he's curious about a library book that he checked out. Curious George checked out Chicken Little. Maybe you've heard of that story too. But in Chicken Little, the little chicken thinks the sky is falling when an acorn plops on her head. So George becomes very curious about this. This is George. George is a good little monkey and always very curious. Today, he's curious about a library book that his friend, the man with the yellow hat, brought home. George sat down to look at the book. There was a yellow chick on the cover, pointing up to the sky. This made George even more curious. He brought it to the man with the yellow hat. "Why don't we wait until after dinner, George?" asked his friend. "Then we can read it as a bedtime story." George wanted to read the book, but he was feeling hungry, and his dinner did smell delicious. After dinner, it was bath time. A nice warm bath is just what a monkey needs after a long day. George played with his rubber ducky and little toy boat until it was time to get out. His friend held out a fluffy towel with a hood that looked like a little chick. That made George think of his new library book. George put on his pajamas and hopped into bed. He couldn't wait to hear the story. "This is the story of Chicken Little," said the man with the yellow hat. "I think you're going to like this one, George." George did like it. Poor Chicken Little thought the sky was going to fall, and then lots of other animals thought it would too. Thank goodness the sky didn't actually fall. Little monkeys like happy endings. It seemed like the perfect bedtime story. That is, until George woke up in the middle of the night. He had had a terrible dream that the sky really was falling. George was scared. His friend came to see what was the matter. George pointed to the book and then to the ceiling. "Don't worry, George. It was just a dream," said his friend. "The sky isn't really going to fall. Let's try to relax and get back to sleep." First, the man with the yellow hat brought him a warm cup of milk. "Warm milk always makes me feel sleepy, George." It seemed to be working for George, too, until, oh no, the warm milk spilled all over the place. After cleaning the mess, his friend got another book to read. This story was about a train that had to race along tracks to deliver a special package to a little girl. It was very exciting. George was even more wide awake now than before. "Maybe a song will help," said the man with the yellow hat. "Lie down in bed and I'll sing to you." George tried to rest. He really did. But the song was pretty catchy. First he tapped his toes slowly. Then his whole body wanted to dance. He got up and bounced on the bed. Said his friend. "I wish I knew why you can't sleep tonight." George stopped dancing. He pulled out the book, Chicken Little, and then pointed to the ceiling again, frowning. "Are you still worried that the sky is going to fall?" his friend asked. George nodded. He just couldn't get that dream out of his head. Said his friend. "I have an idea. Why don't we take my telescope outside to look at the stars and make sure the sky is still way up where it should be?" George liked that idea so much that he leaped right out of his bed. It was chilly outside, but it was very nice to be out in the dark at night, too. The stars were still up in the sky, far, far away. The man with the yellow hat set up the telescope and showed George how to look through it. When George looked through the telescope, the stars looked quite near. He could even see planets. Near, far, near, far. He looked through the telescope many times. It was like magic. So when you look inside through the telescope, things would look close. They would look near, right? But if you're just looking at the sky without a telescope, well, then everything's going to look far away. So this fascinated George. "See, George," said his friend, "the stars are just where they should be. The sky doesn't look like it's falling, does it?" George shook his head with a smile. The man with the yellow hat even had a chart with something called constellations on them. Constellations are pictures of the stars. George loved looking for the constellations so much that he completely forgot about his bad dream. But it was so late. George yawned. "I think it's time for both of us to get some sleep, George," said his friend, leading him back to the house. His friend gave him a hug and tucked him in tightly. "Good night, George," said the man with the yellow hat as he was about to close the door. "I hope you have happy dreams." George cuddled his teddy bear for a minute, and then he started to fret again, just a teeny bit, about the sky falling. He hopped out of bed and opened his curtains so that he could see the stars and the sky right where they should be. And as the starlight streamed into his bedroom, George snuggled down deep into his blankets and fell asleep. Sweet dreams, George. The end. What did you think, boys and girls? I'm sure all of us at one time or another have had bad dreams, right? Yeah, sometimes that happens. It's good when you have a good friend like the man with the yellow hat, right? Or a special grown-up that helps you talk it out and makes you feel all better. Let's sing our lullabies now. We're going to sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, followed by God Bless the Moon. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Very good. And you might have learned a new word today. All those stars up in the sky sometimes form what we call constellations, right? That's what George discovered in our story today. And it's fun, especially as the weather turns warmer and it's springtime and summertime. It's a great time to go outside and look up at the stars and see if maybe you can find some constellations too. All right, let's sing our moon lullaby. I see the moon and the moon sees me. God bless the moon and God bless me. And God bless you, friends at home. As always, thanks so much for watching. And I'll see you again real soon on 5-Minute Bedtime Stories with Miss Elaine. Good night.